Namaskar. Bob Lancia is a very respected congressman in the United States Congress. Recently, he put out a series of tweets, and I'm just going to quickly read them. As I sit at home this morning, doing a little reflecting about our failed exit from Afghanistan that costed 13 brave service members their lives, I think about how things could have been different, especially if we had partnered with India. And he goes on to say, if the Gilgit Baltistan region was under the control of India, the US troops in Afghanistan could have received supplies directly from India, a friendly democracy, rather than depending on unreliable and double game playing Pakistan. Indian controlled Gilgit Baltistan would have been also a major blow to America's number one rival, China, and China's Belts and Roads Initiative. Now, this is a very realistic ruminations of someone, and we need to go back to the 1940s to understand what really happened and could things have been different. I'm going to have a subject matter expert come tomorrow and talk with us in a little bit more detail, but just let me share some thoughts with you. I am now quoting from The Shadow of the Great Game by Narendra Singh Sarila. He was the last aide de camp to Lord Louis Mountbatten. In fact, he probably was the only Indian-born ADC to Lord Louis Mountbatten. He says, in the 1860s and 70s, the Tsars as well as the British both were what is called as playing the great game. Both were trying to annex territories. Both just kept going on annexing more and more regions. And he says that around 1870s, the Soviets were within 100 kilometers of the British Empire, and the British Empire, of course, stretched all the way up to Afghanistan, and everything was a single Akhand Bharat. So what he says is that the British had fought 3 wars in Afghanistan, incorporated in the 1880s parts of eastern Afghanistan into the northwest frontier province, and Balochistan, built a railway network to the Khyber and Bolan passes leading to Afghanistan, helped the Dogra Rajput ruler of Jammu under their paramountcy to extend his rule into Kashmir right up to the Xinjiang border, constructed a road from Gilgit in Hunza in northern Kashmir through the 13,000 feet high Mintaka Pass in the Karakoram Mountains to Kashgar in Xinjiang. Posted agents there to monitor Russian activities. So the British had sort of planned that Afghanistan would be the buffer between Soviet Russia and India. And in this part of this great game, they had allowed the Kashmiri kingdom to rule not only what is modern day Kashmir, but also areas of the Pak occupied Kashmir today, both POK area plus the Gilgit Baltistan area. Now, if you also remember, I think I've said this thing in the past, the same book, The Shadow of the Great Game, talks about how America was very keen that India stay united. It was the British who wanted this Gilgit Baltistan separate, and they wanted to have a say, a foothold in this newly formed country, and that is how they decided that Gilgit Baltistan and some parts of POK should perhaps be with Pakistan. Now, it is the immatureness of the Indian political leadership at that point of time that refused to see the reason behind the victory of the Allied powers in the Second World War. They somehow forgot, or they didn't know, they were naive, I don't know. Pandit Nehru was in UK several times, but they didn't seem to know that it was the United States, its entry in 1942 and its Normandy invasion. It was led by the United States. British troops were there, but it was the United States that led the way. So United States, in other words, was the leader by 1943. And it was the prime reason why the Second World War was won by United States, and of course at that point of time US and Russia were fighting on one side. They were fighting Germans on the other side, and then as soon as the Second World War ended, US and USSR became enemies. Cold War and all that good stuff. So, to understand this importance of this area, Gilgit Baltistan, I'm going to have a subject matter expert tomorrow who's going to talk about it. It was a missed opportunity for India not to have really listened to the real boss, which was the United States in 1947, but instead defer to the nonsense that was put in its ears by the British. But hindsight is always 2020. So it is easy for us to say this thing today. We don't know what the conditions were at that point of time. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. And do not forget to click on the bell button for notification. And if you're happy with this hangout, please feel free to donate using the Super Friend button. Namaskar.